Employment Relations Act 2000. Public Act 2000 No. 24. Date of assent August 19, 2000. Commencement see Section 2. Contents. Page 1 Title 19. 2 Commencement 19. Part 1. Key Provisions. 3 Object of this Act 19. Good faith employment relations. 4 Parties to employment relationship to deal with each other in good faith. 20. 4A Penalty for certain breaches of duty of good faith. 22. Records relating to minimum entitlement provisions. 4B Employer's general obligation to keep records relating to minimum entitlement provisions. 23. Part 2. Preliminary provisions. Interpretation. 5 Interpretation 23. Note. Changes authorized by Subpart 2 of Part 2 of the Legislation Act 2012 have been made in this official reprint. Note 4 at the end of this reprint provides a list of the amendments incorporated. This act is administered by the Ministry of Business, Innovation, and Employment. Reprint. As at January 1, 2018. 1. 5A Provisions affecting application of amendments to this Act 27. 6 Meaning of employee 27. 6A Status of examples 29. Part 3. Freedom of association. 7 Object of this Part 29. 8 Voluntary membership of unions 30. 9 Prohibition on preference 30. 10 Contracts, agreements, or other arrangements inconsistent with Section 8 or Section 9. 30. 11 Undue influence 31. Part 4. Recognition and operation of unions. 12 Object of this Part 31. Registration of unions and related matters. 13 Application by society to register as union 31. 14 When society entitled to be registered as union 32. 15 Registration of society as union 32. 16 Annual return of members 32. 17 Cancellation of unions registration 33. Union's right to represent members. 18 Union entitled to represent members' interests 33. Access to workplaces. 19 Workplace does not include dwelling house 33. 20 Access to workplaces 33. 20 A representative of union must obtain consent to enter workplace 34. 21 Conditions relating to access to workplaces 35. 22 When access to workplaces may be denied 36. 23 When access to workplaces may be denied on religious grounds 36. 24 Issue of certificate of exemption 36. 25 Penalty for certain acts in relation to entering workplace 37. Union meetings. 26 Union meetings 37. Registrar of Unions. 27 Registrar of Unions 38. 28 Registrar of Unions may seek directions of authority 38. 29 Persons who have standing in proceedings relating to unions 38. 30 Offense to mislead Registrar 39. Employment Relations Act 2000. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. 2. Part 5. Collective Bargaining. 31 Object of this Part 39. Good faith. 32 Good faith in bargaining for collective agreement 39. 33 Duty of good faith does not require collective agreement to be concluded. 41. 34 Providing information in bargaining for collective agreement 41. Codes of good faith. 35 Codes of good faith 42. 36 Appointment of committee to recommend codes of good faith 43. 37 Minister may approve code of good faith not recommended by committee. 43. 38 Amendment and revocation of code of good faith 43. 39 Authority or court may have regard to code of good faith 43. Bargaining. 40 Who may initiate bargaining 44. 41 When bargaining may be initiated 44. 42 How bargaining initiated. 44. 43 Employees' attention to be drawn to initiation of bargaining. 45. 44 When bargaining initiated. 45. 44A Employer may opt out of bargaining for collective agreement, or for agreement to join collective agreement, involving two or more employers. 45. 44B How to opt out. 46. 44C Effect of opting out. 46. 45 One or more unions proposing to initiate bargaining with two or more employers for single collective agreement. 47. 46 Terms of question for secret ballot. 47. 47 When secret ballots required after employer initiates bargaining for single collective agreement. 48. 48 When requirement for secret ballot does not apply. 49. 49 Parties joining bargaining after it begins. 49. 50 Consolidation of bargaining. 49. Facilitating bargaining. 50A Purpose of facilitating collective bargaining. 50. 50B Reference to authority. 50. 50C Grounds on which authority may accept reference. 50. 50D Limitation on which member of authority may provide facilitation. 51. 50E Process of facilitation. 51. 50F Statements made by parties during facilitation. 52. 50G Proposals made or positions reached during facilitation. 52. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018 Employment Relations Act 2000. 3. 50H Recommendation by Authority. 52. 50I Party must deal with authority in good faith. 53. Determining collective agreement if breach of duty of good faith. 50J Remedy for serious and sustained breach of duty of good faith in Section 4 in relation to collective bargaining. 53. Authority may determine that bargaining has concluded. 50K Authority may determine that bargaining has concluded. 54. 50K Declaration or determination under Section 50K not to be made if breach of duty of good faith by party seeking declaration. 55. Collective agreements. 51 Ratification of collective agreement. 56. 52 When collective agreement comes into force and expires. 56. 53 Continuation of collective agreement after specified expiry date. 56. 54 Form and content of collective agreement. 57. 55 Deduction of union fees. 58. 56 Application of collective agreement. 58. 56A Application of collective agreement to subsequent parties. 59. 57 Employee bound by only one collective agreement in respect of same work. 60. 58 Employee who resigns as member of union but does not resign as employee. 60. 59 Copy of collective agreement to be delivered to Chief Executive. 60. Undermining collective bargaining or collective agreement. 59A Interpretation. 61. 59B Breach of duty of good faith to pass on, in certain circumstances. In individual employment agreement terms and conditions agreed. In collective bargaining or in collective agreement. 61. 59C Breach of duty of good faith to pass on, in certain circumstances. In collective agreement provisions agreed in other collective bargaining or another collective agreement. 62. Part 6. Individual employees' terms and conditions of employment. 60 Object of this part. 63. 60A Good faith in bargaining for individual employment agreement. 64. 61 Employee bound by applicable collective agreement may agree to additional terms and conditions of employment. 64. 62 Employer's obligations in respect of new employee who is not member of union. 65. 63 Terms and conditions of employment of new employee who is not member of union repealed. 66. 63A Bargaining for individual employment agreement or individual terms and conditions in employment agreement. 66. Employment Relations Act 2000. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. 4. 64. Employer must retain copy of individual employment agreement or individual terms and conditions of employment. 67. 65. Form and content of individual employment agreement. 68. 65. A deduction of union fees. 69. 66. Fixed term employment. 69. 67. Probationary arrangements. 70. 67A. When employment agreement may contain provision for trial period for 90 days or less. 71. 67B. Effect of trial provision under Section 67A. 72. 67C. Agreed hours of work. 72. 67D. Availability provision. 73. 67E. Employee may refuse to perform certain work. 74. 67F. Employee not to be treated adversely because of refusal to perform certain work. 74. 67G. Cancellation of shifts. 75. 67H. Secondary employment provisions. 76. 68. Unfair bargaining for individual employment agreements. 77. 69. Remedies for unfair bargaining. 78. Part 6A. Flexible working. 69A. Object of this part. 78. 69. AAA. Interpretation. 79. Employee's statutory right to make request. 69. Ob. When employee may make requests. 79. 69. AAC. Requirements relating to requests. 79. 69. AAD. Limitation on frequency of requests. Repealed. 80. Duties of employer. 69. AAE. Employer must notify decision as soon as possible. 80. 69. AAF. Grounds for refusal of request by employer. 80. Resolving disputes. 69. AAG. Role of labor inspector. 81. 69. A. Labor inspectors and mediation. 81. 69. AAI. Application to authority. 82. 69. AAJ. Penalty. 82. 69. AAK. Limitation on challenging employer. 82. Review of part. Repealed. 69. AAL. Review of operation of part after 2 years. Repealed. 83. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. Employment Relations Act 2000. 5. Part 6A. Continuity of employment if employees' work affected by restructuring. Subpart 1. Specified categories of employees. 69A. Object of this subpart. 83. 69B. Interpretation. 84. 69C. Meaning of contracting in, contracting out, and subsequent contracting. 85. 69CA. Exempt employer. 86. 69CB. Warranty. 87. 69 cubic centimeters person's warranty to be provided to. 87. 69 CD. Provision of information for purposes of giving warranty. 89. 69 CE. When warranty must be provided. 91. 69 D. Meaning of new employer. 92. 69 D. Associated person. 93. 69 E. Examples of contracting in, contracting out, and subsequent contracting. 93. 69F. Application of this subpart. 96. 69 FA. Employer's breach of obligations not to affect employees' rights and new employers' obligations. 96. 69G. Notice of right to make election. 96. 69H. Employee bargaining for alternative arrangements. 98. 69I. Employee may elect to transfer to new employer in certain circumstances. 99. 69J. Employment of employee who elects to transfer to new employer. Treated as continuous. 100. 69K. Terms and conditions of employment of transferring employee under fixed term employment. 101. 69L. Agreements excluding entitlements for technical redundancy not affected. 102. 69 LA liability for costs of service-related entitlements of transferring employee. 102. 69 LB resolving disputes about apportioning liability for costs of service-related entitlements. 104. 69 LC implied warranty by employer of transferring employees. 104. 69 M new employer becomes party to collective agreement that binds employee electing to transfer. 105. 69 N employee who transfers may bargain for redundancy entitlements with new employer. 105. 69 O authority may investigate bargaining and determine redundancy entitlements. 106. 69 OAA false warranty, exempt employer. 106. Employment Relations Act 2000. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. 6. Subpart 2 Disclosure of information relating to transfer of employees. 69 OA object of this subpart. 107. 69 OB interpretation. 107. 69 OC disclosure of employee transfer costs information. 109. 69 OD provision of employee transfer costs information by other persons. 111. 69 OE updating disclosure of employee transfer costs information. 112. 69 OEA disclosure of individualized employee information. 112. 69 of employer who is subject to Official Information Act 1982. 113. 69 OG subpart prevails over agreement. 113. Subpart 3 Other employees. 69 O object of this subpart. 114. 69 OI interpretation. 114. 69 OJ collective agreements and individual employment agreements must contain employee protection provision. 115. 69 OK affected employee may choose whether to transfer to new employer. 115. Subpart 4 Review of Part repealed. 69 OL Review of operation of Part after 3 years repealed. 116. Part 6B Bargaining fees. 69P Interpretation. 116. 69Q Bargaining fee clause does not come into force unless agreed to, first by employer and union and then by secret ballot. 116. 69 R employer to notify employees if bargaining fee clause agreed to. 117. 69s which employees bargaining fee clause applies to. 118. 69T bargaining fee clause binding on employer and employee. 118. 69U amount of bargaining fee. 118. 69V expiry of bargaining fee clause. 118. 69W validity of bargaining fee clause. 119. Part 6C Breastfeeding facilities and breaks. 69X interpretation. 119. 69Y employer's obligation. 119. 69Z breastfeeding breaks additional to breaks under Part 6D. 119. 69ZA Code of Employment Practice relating to employer's obligation. 120. 69ZB penalty. 120. Part 6D Rest breaks and meal breaks. 69ZC interpretation. 120. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018 Employment Relations Act 2000. 7. 69ZD Employees' Entitlement to Rest Breaks and Meal Breaks. 121. 69ZE Timing and Duration of Rest Breaks and Meal Breaks. 121. 69Z Compensatory Measures. 122. 69ZEB Compensatory measure must be reasonable. 122. 69ZF Penalty. 123. 69ZG Relationship between part and employment agreements. 123. 69 Relationship between Part and other enactments 123. Part 7. Employment Relations Education Leave. 70 Object of this Part 124. 71 Interpretation 124. 72 Minister to approve Employment Relations Education 124. 73 Union entitled to allocate Employment Relations Education Leave 125. 74 Calculation of maximum number of days of employment relations education leave 125. 75 Union to notify employer of maximum number of days of employment relations education leave calculated 126. 76 Allocation of employment relations education leave calculated in respect of another employer 126. 77 Allocation of employment relations education leave to eligible employee 126. 78 Eligible employee proposing to take employment relations education leave 126. 79 Eligible employee taking employment relations education leave entitled to ordinary pay 127. Part 8. Strikes and lockouts 80 Object of this Part 127. Interpretation 81 Meaning of strike 128. 82 Meaning of lockout 129. Lawfulness of strikes and lockouts 82 A requirement for union to hold secret ballot before strike 129. 82b Terms of question for secret ballot 130. 82c When requirement for secret ballot does not apply 130. 83 Lawful strikes and lockouts related to collective bargaining 130. 84 Lawful strikes and lockouts on grounds of safety or health 130. 85 Effect of lawful strike or lockout 130. 86 Unlawful strikes or lockouts 131. Notice of strike or lockout 86A Notice of strike 132. 86B Notice of lockout 133. Employment Relations Act 2000. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. 8. Suspension of employees during strikes 87 Suspension of striking employees 134. 88 Suspension of non-striking employees where work not available during strike 134. 89 Basis of suspension 135. Essential services 90 Strikes in essential services 135. 91 Lockouts in essential services 136. 92 Chief Executive to ensure mediation services provided 137. Procedure to provide public with notice before strike or lockout in certain passenger transport services 93 Procedure to provide public with notice before strike in certain passenger transport services 137. 94 Procedure to provide public with notice before lockout in certain passenger transport services 138. 95 Penalty for breach of Section 93, 4, or 94, 4, 139. Withdrawal of notice of strike or lockout 95A Withdrawal of notice of strike or lockout 139. Interpretation 95A Meaning of partial strike and specified pay deduction 140. Specified pay deductions in relation to partial strike 95B Employer may make specified pay deductions in relation to partial strike 140. 95C Notice of specified pay deduction 141. 95D Calculation of specified pay deduction 142. 95E Relationship between specified pay deduction and minimum wage 142. Rights of union in relation to specified pay deductions 95F Union may request information about specified pay deduction 143. 95G Employer must respond to request for information about specified pay deduction 143. 95H Resolution of problem relating to specified pay deduction 144. Employer's liability for wages during lockout 96. Employer not liable for wages during lockout 144. Performance of duties of striking or locked out employees 97. Performance of duties of striking or locked out employees 144. Record of strikes and lockouts 98. Record of strikes and lockouts 145. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018 Employment Relations Act 2000. 9. Jurisdiction of Employment Court 99. Jurisdiction of court in relation to torts 145. 100. Jurisdiction of court in relation to injunctions 146. Part 8a. Codes of Employment Practice and Code of Good Faith 4. Public Health Sector. Codes of Employment Practice 100A. Codes of Employment Practice 147. 100B. Amendment and Revocation of Code of Practice 148. 100C. Authority or court may have regard to Code of Practice 148. Code of Good Faith for Public Health Sector 100D. Code of Good Faith for Public Health Sector 148. 100E. Amendments to or replacement of Code of Good Faith for Public Health Sector 149. 100F. Code of Good Faith for Employment Relationships in relation to provision of services by New Zealand Police 149. 100G. Amendments to or replacement of Code of Good Faith for employment relationships in relation to provision of services by New Zealand Police 149. Part 9. Personal grievances, disputes, and enforcement. Object 101. Object of this part 150. Personal grievances 102. Employee may pursue personal grievance under this Act 150. 103. Personal grievance 151. 103A. Test of justification 152. 104. Discrimination 153. 105. Prohibited grounds of discrimination for purposes of Section 104 153. 106. Exceptions in relation to discrimination 154. 107. Definition of involvement in activities of union for purposes of Section 104. 155. 108. Sexual harassment 156. 109. Racial harassment 157. 110. Duress 157. 110A. Adverse conduct for prohibited health and safety reason 158. 111. Definitions relating to personal grievances 159. 112. Choice of procedures 159. 113. Personal grievance provisions only way to challenge dismissal 160. 114. Raising personal grievance 160. Employment Relations Act 2000. Reprinted as at January 1, 2018. 10.